Your medication is ready.
Thank God. So we can remain mentally stable. This is everybody's PSA to take your medication.
Yeah, take your medication as prescribed.
Yeah. Just because you feel better doesn't mean we need to go off of the medication.
Mm-hmm. Because it's probably your medication that's helping you feel better.
Yeah. Shock, surprise, I know.
I know. It's, and like also remember what it was like when you stopped taking the medication, how long it took you before you were on that medication to feel better.
Right.
So if you stop taking it for 5 days, you're kind of just like reverting back to all of that. It's not good. You know what I just realized? There's an outlet right here. And I've been like trying to stretch my computer cord over here, and there's literally an outlet right here.
New house problems.
Champagne problems, guys.
Champagne problems.
You know, my friend Gabby sent me a picture that there's somewhere that's hosting a champagne problems night.
Shut up.
Not as like a Taylor Swift thing. It's just, it's called the Champagne Problems Ball. And
oh my gosh.
It's like drown your problems in champagne and leave them all on the dance floor. Welcome to the ultimate pity party.
Oh my gosh. Where is that at?
Tickets are $25 because we've got 99 problems and inflation is in fact one.
Yeah.
It is at the Warehouse 410. So I don't know if that's in Owensboro or not.
Send that to me.
We should all go if that's like a thing.
Wouldn't that be so fun?
Warehouse 410. That's in Evansville. I don't really want to go all the way to Evansville. That's like 2 hours.
Not Evansville. Why can't anything cool happen here?
I don't know. Maybe we should just host a champagne ball.
Here. A champagne ball. But hosted by the Verified Therapists. Sponsored by the Verified Therapist podcast.
We should do that. We should host an event.
Yeah.
To our audience, would you guys come to an event if we hosted it?
Some of you don't even live where we live, but would you drive here for said event?
Yeah, would you drive here? Let's just jump right into the highs and lows.
Yeah. We didn't even welcome people to this week.
Oh. Welcome. To Verified Therapist.
We just started.
We just start yapping, y'all.
Yeah.
We're just like very excited for tonight's episode of Love Island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can't wait. I'm almost caught up, so we'll be able to talk about it next week.
Yeah. When you get caught up, listen, my best friend, she usually starts it like a few minutes before me, where I started a few minutes before her. So like we're never texting each other at the like exact time that something is happening. And like I think it happened, the episode that you're in the middle of, what happens at the end of it, she was texting me about it and I was like, stop. Don't spoil this for me.
You're like, I'm not there yet.
I'm like 5 minutes away. Please just let me catch up. But we do that all the time. And she's like, bitch, I'm not there yet. And I'm like, oh.
My bad.
Always just gotta start it, I guess, like right at 8.
Yes. Yeah. It's good. It's like, I said something today and I was like, the universe like knew that I needed a replacement for Vanderpump. So it gifted Love Island.
And this season of Love Island too. Like,
it's insane. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I love reality TV.
I do too. It's so much fun.
It is. And I don't care if people say it's trashy, whatever. I don't care. Judge me for it. But I will always watch a good reality show.
Yeah. And like, this is something that Josh and I watch together too. Because like, we're both so invested in it. Yeah. And he has strong opinions about it, and I have strong opinions about it. And sometimes our opinions don't align. So then I have to tell him why his opinion is wrong.
Right. Understandably.
No, he was Team Rob until don't want to spoil it for anyone, but until homegirl got voted off. So, and then he was like, why is he sobbing?
Yeah.
And being so dramatic. And
yeah. Be so for real. Yeah.
rolling his eyes and all this other stuff. And like now he's definitely not Team Rob anymore. So
welcome to the good side, Josh. We're so glad you're here.
He loves Cordell. Like Cordell is his favorite. And I think Cordell is everyone's favorite.
Yeah. I also love Cordell.
I didn't have high hopes for him like the first episode, like when Serena was asking him his long-term goals. And like he was like, what do you mean by that? And she's like your goals long term. Right. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like whenever someone asks Rob what his goals are, he's just like, I don't have any goals.
Which is a red flag in itself.
My goals are just to live day by day.
Mm-hmm. Not a good sign.
I'm going to roll my eyes just like you, Rob.
That's my goal. That's my long-term goal.
That is my long-term goal, just like that. To be able to roll my eyes as deep into my skull as you do. You know?
And have them not get stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Like every time I see him do that, like I just think of like my parents yelling at me. Like, you roll your eyes like that again, they're going to get stuck in the back of your head. They're going to
get stuck that way. Yeah.
And I'm like, like, did Rob's parents never tell him that?
People need to, like, somebody needs to, like, smack him in the back of the head one good time and see if it, like, tests the theory. Because that's what I was always told. Like, if somebody hits you in the head when your eyes are crossed, it's over. They're staying that way.
It's over. It's done.
It's over.
Listen, I found his TikTok this past week.
Oh, I'm sure it's the worst.
Okay. I'm not going to, like, sit here and just, like, hate on this man. Because I don't think he's, like, a manipulative person or anything. I think he's a fucking idiot and like a man who's not mature. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like a horrible person. I mean, we'll see as the season goes on. Because some people were comparing him to Tom Sandoval, and I was like, I don't.
No,
that's a little. I don't think he's a little extreme.
I don't think that he's smart enough to be a narcissist like that.
Yeah, I think he's just like really immature. And when I stumbled across his TikTok, I was just like, man, this guy is so attractive.
Yeah.
But like, and it's not even like it was just like a lot of like very douchey content. And like, obviously he is a snake wrangler, whatever the hell that means. He also has snake athlete in his Instagram profile. He just goes out and like picks up snakes. Like he'll just go and jump in bushes and find snakes and pick them up and show the world about these snakes. Like and that's
part enough of his personality to go in his bio.
It's not even like just, you know, friendly snakes or whatever. He picked up a fucking rattlesnake. He picked up a cottonmouth. He almost got bit by like a freaking copperhead. Like there's but he's picking up all of these like very dangerous animals.
So
and, like,
okay, I
act like Steve Irwin.
Does he get paid for this? Like, is this his job?
I have no idea.
Or is he just doing this for like fun?
I really have no idea because like how he talks is he just like wrangles snakes. Like that's his job. That's his career. But I'm just like, so like, do you work at a zoo?
So what's he doing with these snakes once he wrangles them?
Yeah, I don't know. Like there was one video where someone called him to go to someone's house because there was a snake in their garage. So he like got the snake out of their garage and then put it in, you know, a little bag and then took it and put it out in the wild. So like, do people pay him to do that? And like, that's his job? I've been trying to figure that out.
Like, is he just known as like the community pet, like, or not pet, but snake wrangler, I guess, like you said, and people call and they're like, I have this snake.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
That's just weird. It's very strange. And it also just shows like his immaturity of just being like, well, let me just pick up this cottonmouth snake or this rattlesnake. Let me just pick it up.
Did Steve Irwin even do like crazy shit like that? Like, I mean, I feel like Steve Irwin was like more cautious with those things. Like, I don't really think that he was like out here like playing with a cottonmouth.
Right. Well, Steve Irwin knew what he was doing. This Rob does not appear to know what he's doing in any sense of life, probably much less with these snakes. So
they like, I feel like he does know about these snakes. Like, I feel like he has a lot of knowledge about these snakes because like he'll give like different reptiles and different like insects and all this stuff. Like, he'll give a bunch of different like facts about them. And like, he, even in his videos, like, he's like, this is a blah, blah, blah. And like, this is where they originate from. And this is like blah, blah, blah. So like, I feel like he knows what he's talking about. And like, he'll go out and like, I think he was in somewhere in South America and he was like exploring the jungle, which I feel like is really dangerous to do. And was just like picking up different insects and different things and being like, this is a blah 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 and this is a blah blah blah, and then like they could kill you, and I'm like, then why are you holding it? Like, that's where I'm just like you have so much knowledge but then you still go and pick it up. So like,
right. Well, and I feel like Steve Irwin did it for like conservation reasons and like to help the animals, and like he had like his conservation, I don't know what it's called, but like
anyways, do you want to go into your highs and lows?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what they are. My low is probably this moment right here. Not this moment right here, but like Riverside not being on our side right now. Because I hate when we have technical difficulties because it's so frustrating because we don't know what else to do. So,
yeah.
My high of the week. You know, it wasn't a bad week. I mean, I guess that's my high. Like, nothing wild happened. I mean, I worked and I did not make an appointment for my thyroid doctor, but we're still drinking water and we're still being healthy. So, like, that's something.
Yeah, that is something, but you still need to make an appointment.
Yeah, correct. So, that's maybe gonna be my intention, even though it was my intention like 2 weeks ago and I never did it. It was funny, my friend Alexa listened to the 1989 episode this week and she was like, just checking in, did you make that appointment? And I was like, nope, I did not. So I really, really need to.
Listen, we all did. And I made my ankle doctor appointment. So
You did. Now you're in a boot.
Yeah.
See, what if I go to the thyroid doctor and they're like, you need a boot for your thyroid? Then what?
What is a boot for your thyroid?
Like a neck brace. We're going to put you in a neck brace.
Yeah. This is a boot for your thyroid.
Yeah. So, but I'm really proud of you for making your appointment. So, like, I'm just going to have to follow suit and make mine.
Mm-hmm. You need to, even though it's like nerve-wracking. And, you know, I honestly was having some like physical gut reaction symptoms going into the ankle doctor because I was like you said, like we talked about a few weeks ago, I was nervous that they were going to say like nothing's wrong.
Right.
You're just dramatic.
The plight of a woman. Always being told that we're being dramatic. But like my hair, like I don't know if you can see it. Do you see this?
That's like super thin. Yeah,
like new growth kind of vibes. And like up here, look at this. You see this piece? It's weird. So like I'm losing hair and then getting new hair. I don't know what's happening. So I need to go have my hormones checked and figure out what we need to do.
Yep. Get it all done. Get it done.
Part of self-care.
It is.
I'm off on Thursday.
Yay.
So I am going to go to the gym and get a membership. Do you remember Stephanie that we used to go to school with? We did grad school with?
Yes.
So she sent me a message and she was like, I guess she saw my post on Facebook about the gym and she was like, are you going to get a membership? And I was like, I think I am. And she was like, well, that's the gym closest to me too. And I think I'm going to get a membership there. So.
Ooh, maybe you guys can like coordinate and like go work out together.
Yeah. So.
Does Stephanie listen to the podcast?
I don't know. We need to be like, Stephanie, listen to this podcast.
Are you a verified therapist fan?
Yeah, let us know. Send me a Facebook message if you are listening to this.
We'll see.
What were your highs and lows?
Well, since we're just like on the subject of health, I'll go with my low. My low is being in a boot because I've never been in a boot before, and I probably should have been in a boot prior to this just because of how many times I've sprained my ankle.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the doctor literally looked at my ankle, felt around it, and was just like, would you wear a boot? And I was like, is that necessary? Like, can we go for like an ankle brace or have something? And he was like, no, I think you need a boot. And I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, this feels really dramatic, like super dramatic to me. But I was like, I mean, if you think it's necessary. And he was like, I think it was necessary a month ago when you injured it again. He's like, because from what I'm seeing, he said, what I'm seeing is like just feeling it feels like injuries that have never healed properly. And I was like, oh.
Okay, so I guess we're getting a boot on it.
Yeah. So, and then like, I've been pretty decent about wearing it. Like the first day, I wasn't that good about wearing it. Like Josh came home and I got out of my like 6:30 session. It was like 7:30 and I like walked out and he was like, where's your boot?
Why is that boot not on your foot?
And then the next night after Love Island. So this is typical man energy. So there was like noises outside of our door, our front door. And I was like, it's probably just bugs, like because it's summer and they're probably flying into the side of our house and they're hitting the side of our house and they're hitting that pest control shit and they're dying. Yeah. So like, it's probably just bugs. What does he do?
Opens the door.
Goes over and opens the door. And after about 5 seconds, I was like, please close the door. A bug's going to come in. Keeps it open. What happens about 5 seconds later? A bug flies in. So my OCD ass latches onto that, can't let it go, has to get it out. My boot is already off because I was ready to go to bed. So I'm running around the house trying to kill this bug. I got the vacuum out, all this other crazy shit. We opened the back door. I didn't know if it went out or not, but I was not playing around. So I was taking a dish towel and like on top of our cabinets, I was like, but like nothing was like, there was no buzzing, there was nothing. And I was like, I feel like if I was smacking a dish towel at the top of our cabinets, a bug is going to fly up and like get out of there.
Yeah. So
I kind of figured it was out. And sure thing, like the next morning it was outside enjoying the fellow carcasses of the bugs outside my house.
The bugs that came before him.
Yeah. But yeah, that was really funny. And Josh was like, when all was said and done, he was just like, wow, I guess somebody shouldn't have opened the door. I was like,
And you didn't have your boot on.
And he was like, the whole time, he was like, and somebody doesn't have their boot on. And I was like, you know what? We're not going to say what we're thinking.
I mean, I'm sure it's annoying to like lug it around, you know?
It is because like today I was cleaning and everything and like just, I know I'm not supposed to be on, I like went back and read the note and like everything. And like the note says like, you're not supposed to be on your feet for more than 10 minutes at a time, like while we're in the boot and all this other stuff. And I know that's for my own good, but like, how can I just sit down and not do anything? Like the house needs to get clean. Like I have to cook. Like there's just, I don't know. I don't know how people do this. And now I understand why my mom never sits the hell down when she's injured.
Yeah. Because you just don't want to sit and when you have all this stuff to do. I get it.
Like it's hard. Like I like that I have a job where I have to sit.
Right.
You know, so that ensures so many hours a day that I'm sitting.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what makes it hard, like, because we have such like a sedentary job that when I'm not, like, sitting there seeing clients, like, I want to be, like, up, like, doing things.
Yeah. Yeah, like, in between sessions, I usually pick up things around the house, or I go and sit outside, which I have still been doing that. Or I'll, like, spray the back deck off and, like, or the side of the house or whatever, you know? I like doing that stuff. And so it's not fun.
It's better than a cast, though. Because casts, you can't take off. And they get disgusting, and then they smell bad.
Yeah, I've been trying to wear socks with my boot because I don't want it to start stinking.
Right.
So, and I have an MRI next month. So I'm in the boot until at least that MRI happens. Do the Rob eye roll.
Yeah. All the way back in your head. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, on a high note, I watched a new TV show this weekend that came out.
What did you watch?
And it was really good.
The suspense.
Well, now there's birds outside of my house because of the dragonflies.
Yeah, they're probably trying to eat those dragonflies.
Yeah. Okay, now the dragonflies are gone and now there's birds.
Maybe you are the new Steve Irwin. Maybe we channeled him.
I take it all back.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
I'm sorry, Steve. I don't want to be the new you. Anyways, so I watched, the show is My Lady Jane. So it is a, like, retelling of Jane Grey. And how she was, she was only on the throne for like 9 days, but they did the retelling to where she doesn't die, because it was kind of like, what if she didn't die? And like the narrator is like super funny and makes a lot of like modern day comments and like commentary, and it is like a very like cute love story too, because it talks about like her and Guilford and their marriage and all this. But then there's like a huge twist on the story too. So the twist is there are humans, which they call verities, and then there are these like magical creatures called Ethians. And the Ethians, you're kind of born and you turn into an animal. So like different ones have like different, like people have turned into different animals. And here we go again talking about animals.
That's our theme this week.
Yeah. Also, like, Mary, which I didn't know this until, because I'm not up on my British monarchy education here. Yeah. So like this made me go and like research it more, because I was just like, did these events like happen very similar? And like they did. This was during the time when they were like beheading everyone. So like they had just beheaded Anne Boleyn. They were just going crazy with these beheadings. And this was when Mary took over crown for like 2 years or so. And this is where we get Bloody Mary from, because her 2-year reign was absolutely horrific. Like she was just having people killed left and right. Like Mary was a serial killer if I'd ever seen one, you know? Like, So, and like the actress that plays her in the show, like, does such a good job at playing into that, like, how you would probably envision Bloody Mary being a little bit, a little bit psycho, unhinged, with like the most BDSM sex fantasies, you know, like all those crazy things.
What is this show on? Is it on Max?
It's on Prime. Yeah, it's really good. It's really funny. Like, there's a lot of humor to it, and like the commentator is like, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Ian Sterling, you know, who does the commentary for Love Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So
that sounds like
that was a really good show. Yeah, Josh got into it like towards the end and everything, and like he was asking me questions about like the real history, and I was like, I have no idea. So I started looking it up, and I was like, oh, okay. But like, she basically killed
stuff like that.
Mary killed everyone.
Yeah.
She killed Jane, her husband, her dad, her sister, her husband's dad. Like, she just like went through and was just like, whole family's getting burned at the stake or beheaded.
She was just out for blood. Jeez.
Yeah, it's really
dang, Mary.
Though.
Yeah,
This was like 1553.
History is so cool. Like, it's not cool that she killed all those people. I don't mean like that, but like, I love when they make things and like it's accurate to the historical telling.
And I didn't know this either, but there have been like a ton of pop culture and like romanticized things of Jane Grey because like it is like one of the most like interesting stories, and like they just like play into her and Guilford's marriage and everything. I didn't know that. I was like looking up more things that they like pop culture has created about them, and there's a ton of books.
That's interesting. I'll have to read up on that. I love history, so
I just can't believe in like 1553 all this crazy shit was happening. And like you stole a tomato from the farmer's market. You got your hand chopped off.
That's done. Yeah.
Huh? Like that's just crazy.
Listen, you know how unhinged things are? Maybe we need to bring those things back.
You start gaslighting a woman.
Corporal punishment. Yeah, get your tongue cut off if you start gaslighting.
I was just thinking. I was just like, what would Rob's punishment be if he was in 1553?
I know what it would be, but it's not appropriate for me to say it on our family-centered podcast.
Are we family-centered?
Not really. Not really.
Also, gaslighting is illegal in the UK.
As it should be.
Yeah, like you can get fined and punished for
gaslighting. Maybe that's why in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, she says you deserve prison, but you won't get time. Because Maddie's from the UK, and so it's illegal there.
Yeah, I learned that in one of my like narcissistic abuse trainings that I went to, like one of the CEUs, and they were like, "Yeah, gaslighting is illegal in the UK."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh,
wow."
I don't know, like
how that would be hard.
Like,
to prove.
How do you prove that? I feel like you'd have
that would
to
be very difficult
with, like,
to prove.
really strong evidence. Yeah.
But I could present some evidence in court. You just print off some text messages and there you go.
Maybe that's how they do it. Like text messages and like, you know, like if someone was like saying like, you're crazy and that, I never said that. And like, you're a piece of shit and blah, blah, blah. And then they come back with receipts and like show the receipts of like, yeah, they said this. Maybe it's like voice recordings too. Like they like record them.
Yeah. Doing it.
Yeah.
See? I could be a gaslighting attorney.
Yeah. I would love to be the gaslighting attorney.
How do we get that job?
Bitches down.
I'm like, how do we get that job? Probably go to law school and be a lawyer. Maybe start there.
Yeah, let's start there. All right. So we are going to go into Taylor.
Taylor, hey, what do you think it's going to be?
I think, just to go back to what we said at the beginning, I think it's going to be folklore.
I think it might be Midnights. We'll see. I was wrong last week when I said Midnights. So
okay. And play. That's me. That's the man. I forgot you existed.
Yeah. My soul just knew it.
So Autumn was right. It's Midnights.
And we're back to Joe.
And we're back to Joe like we never left him.
Like we never left him. Joe, they could never make me hate you.
And now that we know, trying to pull up, but there's 3 different versions of Midnight. So I'm like, which one do I
know.
want?
I know. I'm trying to.
Let's pull up 3 a.m. edition because it has like the deluxe songs, and then we can do the Till Dawn version.
Yeah, let's do, you said till 3 a.m.?
Which I think we're back to Maddie Healy, too, because based on some lyrics from Tortured Poets, I now think Maroon is about Maddie.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's Joe and Maddie kind of interweaving. And I think we've got one John Mayer in there, but...
Yeah. So, let's pull up all the information. My phone is on 13%. How fitting.
Yeah.
So, I want to say, when Midnight's was announced, so Midnight's was announced at the VMAs in 2022.
Yeah.
And I was so excited for this new album. I was, like, not expecting her to put out a new album. Like, especially after, like, the re-release of Red. I thought we were going to live in that for a really long time, like, forever. And I was not expecting her to put out a new album. And then when she did, and the whole vibe of it was, like, 1970s.
Yeah.
Everything, like, every promotion up to that was so good. And 2 weeks before Midnight's came out was when Millie went missing. So then I was like,
trauma burned your brain.
Yeah, I was like not excited for Midnight's anymore. I was just focused on finding my dog, and I missed almost like half the month of October. And being present in October is like, I don't want to say it's my favorite month of the year. I would say June is my favorite month of the year, but October comes pretty second, and probably third because I like my birthday month. Yeah, but. Yeah, it was just like really traumatizing. And so then when Millie came home, she came home like a few days before Midnight's was released. I could finally like get the feel of it and like get excited again. But then I had to go back and watch the Midnight's Mayhem, everything that I missed for 2 weeks, which was a lot by to add because like
and it was,
she was releasing. So for those of you who don't know, like Midnight's Mayhem was Taylor. For up until the release of Midnight's, doing like one of those like bingo machines where you like spin and the ball comes out and then there's a number and she like tells you the track list. And she like picks up the phone and she'll like tell you the name of the title of the song for that track number. The cutest thing ever. But it was in like this velvety, like 70s looking room.
It was so like, 70s. The whole vibe of Midnight's is 1970s.
So Midnight's is Taylor Swift's 10th studio album. And it was released October 21st, 2022. Just a few weeks before the Eras tour was announced. And the world went fucking crazy.
Went insane.
Yeah. And so Taylor Swift conceived it as a concept album about nocturnal ruminations inspired by her sleepless nights. She explores broad emotions like regrets, self-criticism, fantasies, heartbreak, infatuation, and I think uses some of her, at the time, some of her most vulnerable pen skills.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's a very like synth pop 1970s. So like even her most vulnerable songs on it can even come off like not like sad girl music, you know?
I mean, the album starts with Lavender Haze and it starts into this like very jazzy, very like how I just kind of like all around picture the 1970s feel. And I also just like think back to in the Eras tour, you know, after she's done with like the acoustic set and then the next song that plays is Lavender Haze. And she is coming up the stairs from under the stage with so much sass.
And that big purple jacket on that's like furry. And if you watch the movie, like when you're watching kind of like the bird's eye view of the stage during Midnight's or during Lavender Haze specifically, and it's kind of like these like purple, hazy, like clouds. I loved it. I thought Midnight's is probably like color scheme wise, like the coolest on the Eras tour, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely think it's like it has the most costume changes.
Mm-hmm.
It also, like, she goes through 3 different outfits through it. Like, she has the jacket, she's got just the shirt, and then she takes off the shirt and she's in the full, like, Midnight's get up, whatever that one is.
And Lavender Haze is just cool. Like,
it is.
The word that I think of when I think of Lavender Haze is it's just cool. It's a cool song. I love Lavender Haze. I listen to it, like, when it's beautiful outside. I'm in my car driving, windows down. It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah. And it's a song where I think she was kind of like breaking down her relationship with Joe, of kind of being like we said before, like, I think she kind of went through this phase where she was like in denial that she wanted to get married because he didn't want to marry her. And so I think she was kind of like in the song that she's like, all they say is like a one night or a wife, you know, like, get that 1950s shit off my desk. Like, I don't have to be a wife to, like, be in a relationship with this person long term, you know?
Right.
And I think she was denying that.
I think that's why it's, because now, like, that I've used the word cool, I'm thinking of her being like, you know how, like, we use the term, like, a cool girl about things? So, like, men will do things to upset a girl, but she's like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna chill. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna act like it bothers me. And I think that's probably why the vibe is the way it is, because it's probably the headspace that she was in. She was like, I'm not really gonna act like it bothers me. Like, it's fine. Like, yeah, I don't want to be a wife. Like, that's old school stuff. But that's kind of probably what she really wanted. But
and she describes it like lavender haze, like the definition of lavender haze. She had this video that she posted as kind of like, just like a video of her talking about the meaning behind lavender haze. And after her and Joe broke up, she deleted the video. The video just simply talks about, like, lavender haze describes the, like, gooey honeymoon stage of a relationship, and kind of like how and she says it in it, like, I just want to stay in this lavender haze. So she just wanted to stay in that, like, honeymoon stage for as long as she could.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we've all been there, but you know, when
it's intoxicating.
Yeah. And, like, when you're in a relationship with someone for that long, you're not going to be in the honeymoon stage forever.
Right.
Like, it's inevitable for you to come out of that.
It was a great way to start the album, I think.
It was.
Like, I remember October of 2022, I was going through it, honey. I was not in a good place. And I remember I woke up at 2 a.m. specifically to, like, hear Midnights. I had to work the next morning, and I woke up and I wanted to hear it. But I will never forget, like, pressing play on it and hearing the first, like, pulsing of Lavender Haze, and I was like, this sounds so cool.
Were we were texting during that, weren't we?
We probably were.
Yeah, I think we were. Like, I think we were both just, like, rundown of the album. Like, first listen, this is what we think.
This is what it is. Yeah.
And then it was like, it just kept getting, like, more and more. Because I remember texting you about Maroon, and I was like,
oh, it's so, and this is that kind of thing too, like, she plays a lot with production in this album. Like, with Maroon, I feel like she does a lot. Like, again, the pulsating of Lavender Haze, but also, like, Midnight Rain, she plays with her voice a lot, you know? To where, like, you're listening to that for the first time and you're like, what is that? What is this voice I'm hearing right now?
Yeah, she really, like, stacks her voice on top too. You know, I really like that. Like, when she does that in songs, it's really beautiful and it's really cool. And, like, to go into Maroon in particular, Maroon is a song that she wrote with Jack Antonoff. It's also the second song on the album. And it goes through different shades of red. So like it talks about maroon, burgundy, scarlet, and like that's how she describes this like past relationship that's long gone, and she's like looking back on it. Like and then also rust. Like rust is another shade of red that she describes. And I think how she describes this relationship, like you're like, holy shit, like this sounds like a relationship where she thought it was gonna be forever. But yeah, like she thought it was gonna be like forever, but it was just this like blip in a time. And it sounds like another time, like when she describes the rust that grew between telephones, like holy shit, like you're talking about someone ghosting you, and like, or really you guys ghosting each other, and you guys just like cutting off communication without ever mentioning it again. And like someone asked, I can't remember who asked me that, like what the hell does that mean? And I was just like, that's like cutting off communication with someone without ever like telling them that you're cutting communication off. It's just like
your phone wires are rusting because they're not being used. And like, I loved in this song, so she sounds very like whimsical and almost like she's like looking back almost through these rose colored glasses at like all of these shades of red, and being like, but it's burgundy, but it's scarlet. And she interrupts herself every time with like this more like grounded voice, and she's like, it was maroon. It was maroon. So like trying to like remind herself of like, you're looking back on this and seeing it as like this colorful thing when it was just maroon, you know?
Which maroon isn't like it's not like a bright shade of red, but it is like any shade of red is going to like pop, you know?
Right.
So like she's not saying that it was irrelevant. She's still saying it was like a very like popping like relationship that I think is kind of like staying stuck in her mind. Like when she's going through past relationships, like she can see this one from even a mile away.
Right.
Whereas maybe the other ones are more muted. This one is still like maroon and like bright colored in her mind.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention, like, I think it's a callback to her album of Red, where like she's comparing it to red, which is like the basic color, but these are all kinds of shades of red, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever like, those shades could represent is,
like we said, you know, she once thought love would be burning red.
Yeah.
So like maybe she's also looking at it like love is actually supposed to be golden, and this one is red in my mind. Yeah. So like maybe it's not meant to be.
Right. Right. And maroon, I mean, if you like, maroon is kind of like a burnt color of red, you know? Burning red is probably a maroon color.
See, they're all
intertwined.
Do you want to talk about Antihero?
Yeah. It was like you couldn't go anywhere around the time of midnight without hearing Antihero.
I still can't hear, I can't go anywhere without hearing Antihero. Like,
yeah.
It's such a good song, and I think like it is one of her most vulnerable songs. Like she is kind of like self-loathing throughout this song, and talking about like a lot of her insecurities, and just like putting all of her insecurities on the forefront for everyone to see. And Jack just came in and put this like insane beat to it, which is you know, so's Jack Antonoff. Like Taylor's singing about like the most painful things and her insecurities, and Jack is just like, what about this beat, Taylor?
Yeah, listen to this sick beat.
And also like on the Eras tour, I know we've talked about it before, but like she opens the midnight set with Lavender Haze, and then the drums just continue into the drums of Antihero. So it's like a continuation. Yeah. And it's so freaking cool. Like that transition is one of my favorite transitions of the entire show.
It's so smooth.
So smooth. So good. I love it. This was like the first single that came out with the album, and the music video. Again, she was given Easter eggs out left and right throughout the music video, but it is, again, I think, one of her most vulnerable music videos too. Whereas there's a lot of like humor to it, you know, when it gets to the bridge and like her future children are like fighting at her funeral. I think that was cool, but also like just the vulnerability of it, of showing, I don't know, like the scale thing. I know that they took that off. But like that just kind of shows like body dysmorphia and, you know, like looking in the mirror and like having this person behind you being like, you don't look good enough. And like constantly having this person like over your shoulder, just like telling you like everyone's going to betray you and like this and this and this. And like her having to listen to this person. And then like the whole time, I mean, it's her.
Right.
But which is another beautiful
layer
thing
to it.
But it is like, I mean, we've all felt a lot of those insecurities that she feels in that song, of kind of like, and like one of my favorite parts in the music video is like when she comes into the room and she's like the giant Taylor and like she's kind of like knocking over everything and she's kind of like, oops, like I'm sorry, like my bad. And then everybody just like runs scared out of the room from her and she's just like sitting there like by herself, like, okay. I think that's very telling of like her stardom too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is like she almost gets too big to where it freaks people out, and it kind of keeps a wall between her and other people.
I mean, that goes to like her relationships too, like telling of her relationships with people, like, I mean, friendships, like you can see it like even with people that she is just friends with. If she goes out to dinner with them, you know, like people are like, oh, new bestie alert, or they're like, oh, is she dating this person? You know, like it's like she can't even go anywhere without those other people kind of being collateral damage to it as well.
Yeah. And I think it, you know, and we kind of touched on this like a few weeks ago, but like, again, I think that she's gotten to a point of stardom to where she's so big that it can almost be like detrimental in some cases, you know?
Which I think she talks about it too. Like it is really scary. And like, I also think it's very detrimental to her mental health as well as her physical health, you know?
Yeah.
Because like in this song, like she's talking about what being this famous has done to her mental health. And
saying like, yeah, it probably does have to be like exhausting to be around me and to deal with me. Like that's probably exhausting, you know? And kind of like agreeing that like it might be hard for her to be around other people and that might make it hard for them, you know? And it's sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. But like she said, like she's the problem and she knows she's the problem. And like, it also makes me think like she knows that like the problem is like her and her stardom, but also like she knows that like she put herself there and she wanted this and she wanted to this, and she's done everything she can to get to this point. So like I know I fucked up in some ways, but also like at the end of the day, this is what I wanted. I want to say, which goes to You're on Your Own, Kid.
I think You're on Your Own, Kid is such like a beautiful, like the bridge to that song is just so good.
It's a track 5, which we know track 5s.
We love a track 5.
Are her most vulnerable, heartbreaking songs, and she just played it again tonight in Dublin, night 3. I think she played it night 1 too. Like
she loves it. She loves You're on Your Own, Kid.
She loves You're on Your Own, Kid. And tonight she played it for Stevie Nicks. So
yeah, but you know, I think it's a really good like letter to herself too. Of like, look how much work you've done and how far you've come, and I gave my blood, sweat, and tears for this. You know,
like and she
and it's all been me.
This, you know, like every single one of these, like on the Eras tour, like all the pictures are her. You know, she did this. She put in the work. She starved her body through parties. She did all of these things. And at the end of the day, she realized, you know, like she doesn't have to have someone else, because everybody I mean, it goes back to like the thing in Antihero, like everyone's gonna like screw you over.
Yeah.
Everyone will betray you.
I don't know. People can say what they want about Taylor Swift. There's never been one person that has like celebrity. When you read what people say about her, like other celebrities, what is consistent is they will always say she's the hardest worker in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's like stuff for the tour, whether it's writing music. I mean, I saw an article today talking about how she's been writing music through this tour. And I'm like, how? How do you have time to write? Like, you're jet setting with your brand new boyfriend and doing shows and in the gym every single day and practicing and coming up with all this new stuff. How do you have time for that? But it's just because she loves it so much, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's like how she gets her feelings out too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like we talked about last week, like she uses her pen as a way of expressing her emotions. And in like You're on Your Own, Kid, that's where we get the
mm-hmm.
friendship bracelets. And she's like, so make the friendship bracelets. And like, I think that's why it became such a huge thing, is like the fans
mm-hmm.
latched on to the friendship bracelets, and then they started making friendship bracelets. So then by the time Eras Tour was announced and like all of these things that have happened with Eras Tour, like people started like, hey, let's make friendship bracelets. Let's meet up. Let's trade friendship bracelets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was there, I don't know about you, but I had like my arms full of friendship bracelets, and like
mm-hmm.
people would stop you and be like, hey, you want to trade friendship bracelets? Like, just random strangers. Mm-hmm. I got my favorite bracelet. That's a Cruel Summer bracelet that has dice on it
mm-hmm.
from trading with someone.
Yeah. And we keep like, I think mine's also a Cruel Summer bracelet. But anyways, I kept mine. Like, mm-hmm. from getting those. Like, I have them, like I have a little heart hands display for them. Like, I kept my bracelets because it's just such a fun memory of like, you know, we were standing in line for merch, and when you're mm-hmm. just standing there, people behind you and in front of you, hey, you want to trade bracelets? And it's like such a, I don't know, it's just like such a community thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like people were giving them to like security guards and like bartenders and, you know, mm-hmm. all kinds of stuff. And like, it was just so much fun to see, you know, videos of like security guards get so excited for like for people to give them friendship bracelets. I thought it was so cute, you know. And then like Jason Kelsey even mm-hmm. last week when he was there at the London show, like
Jason Kelsey had them
arms
up his arm
on his ears, you know.
Yeah.
And like Kylie
mm-hmm.
was talking about it too. Like Kylie Kelsey was saying like people were just coming up to her and giving her friendship bracelets, and you know, so much mm-hmm. fun.
Yeah, it's just a very special thing, you know. Mm-hmm. I get very nervous at big events, just because this day and age you just don't know, like mm-hmm. you don't know how those things are going to go, and that's probably the only concert that I've not felt nervous. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I was standing in a lightning delay, shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of people for 4 hours.
With your lips turning blue.
With my lips turning blue. Dying. And I didn't feel like something bad was going to happen. I did not feel scared. Like, I wasn't nervous. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because of the community that she's built around her fans in this tour, you know?
Yeah, because like even the people, like there was thousands of people standing outside of Nissan Stadium, mm-hmm. and I did not feel one bad thing because it was just fans like out there dancing mm-hmm. and singing and having a good time. And you know, I've been to a lot of concerts, especially after Eras Tour, like where people were getting rough with each other and getting rude and like shoving each other and just like fighting, and I'm just like, why are we fighting? Like a few weeks after Eras Tour, I went to a Shania Twain concert, and mm-hmm. like there was a brawl right in mm-hmm. front of me and Jamie, and I'm just like, I don't want to say a brawl. A brawl sounds like they were like fighting, like physically fighting, but they were like screaming at each other, and like security had to come over, and like it was just like really distracting because I was like, I'm trying to listen to Shania, and like you guys are screaming at each other, like I didn't see that happening at the Taylor Swift concert because it is
we were
such
trading friendship bracelets.
Yeah, it's like a welcoming and like happy environment, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You almost just don't experience, like, you don't experience anything like it again, you know?
Mm-hmm. To go back to the friendship bracelets, like Travis Kelce landed Taylor Swift with a friendship bracelet.
Mm-hmm. What better way?
So, well, to hop back up to track 4.
Uh-huh.
I guess we're kind of going in order, not really meaning to.
I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be skipping this one.
Are you not a Snow on the Beach girly?
It's fine. It's fine. Like, I get it stuck in my head. But like I'm not searching for it on Spotify, I'm playing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I can see that, you know.
Yeah. I'm not a Lana Del Rey fan, honestly. So I
am.
Yeah.
I think that's why I absolutely love it, because it is such a Lana song.
Mm-hmm.
And
I liked her song in The Great Gatsby, and that was it. Because The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite movies.
This song, I mean, and then there's Lana's all over the original song, but
yeah,
she went back and recorded, and so in the Till Dawn edition of this album, because there's 3 different editions. There's Midnight's originally, then there's the 3 a.m. version, and then there's the Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And so it came back and Lana recorded more. So there's Snow on the Beach version with more Lana Del Rey, which just has her singing the full second verse, even though she is singing throughout the entire song as if you know Lana's voice, you can hear her that she is singing the entire song behind Taylor. And
yeah,
I think their voices go so well together. And also, I love this song. And when it started playing in the second season of The Summer I Turned Pretty, because it always goes back to The Summer I Turned Pretty, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
this fits so well with this moment. And it was such a, it reminded me that it's such a powerful song.
Yeah.
And I think listening to it in that context made me appreciate it even more.
Right.
So when you watch the show, maybe you'll appreciate it even more.
Yeah. When I watch the show, maybe I won't skip it.
I'm going to talk really quick about the accolades for Midnight. Critics obviously praised Taylor for her songwriting and compositions throughout the entire album. And then she also won Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album at the 2024 Grammys. So just this past year, she won Album of the Year for Midnight.
Deserved.
Well deserved. And that made her the first artist to win Album of the Year at the Grammys 4 times. Nobody's doing it like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Midnight's came out in October of 2022, and the cutoff is always October, the beginning of October for Grammys, the next year. So then she wasn't qualified for the 2023 Grammys, so this was 2024. So out of all the albums that came out between October 2022 and October 2023, Midnight's still won, which is
impressive,
crazy. Yeah. And again, that just shows how phenomenal she is. And she wrote this album with Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner. And again, it is an album where you can definitely hear the differences in the songs. The Jack songs and then the Aaron songs. And Aaron, I think, is really on the 3 a.m. edition. I don't hear him throughout. Okay, yeah. So Jack Antonoff wrote 11 of the songs, co-wrote with Taylor, and then co-wrote or co-produced 13 tracks. And then Aaron Dessner worked on 4 tracks of the 3 a.m. edition. So
I will say that my Eras Tour show, Aaron Dessner came out for Would've, Could've, Should've. I lost it. Because I think Would've, Could've, Should've is one of her best lyrically written songs on this album.
Yes.
And when he came out there, I was like, that's it. She was in the yellow dress. So, it was raining. all the signs were in place that chaos was going to happen. And then he came out there and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Because would've, could've, should've, I think, is like the fandom has kind of speculated it goes into like Dear John. It's kind of like an extension of Dear John. It's essentially looking back on a relationship and kind of realizing how manipulated that person was in that relationship. So like Taylor, for instance, is recalling like being 19 at the time and John being 32 and just kind of like being like, oh, and like how she writes the song, it is very like religious. Like the whole song has a very religious like aspect to it, and like the lyrics are very religious and
like saying you're a crisis of my faith. And then I never should have danced with the devil. It is very like religious, kind of,
and like saying that this person like took her innocence away from her. So it says like it's a new wave leaning soft rock song, which also I think is like another tie back to John Mayer too, of it being kind of like a rock song as well.
Yeah.
Which again, I think this like shows Taylor's emotional vulnerability because like, I mean, essentially, like in a way, she's kind of like it's very similar to like Demi Lovato's song 29. Like I kind of like compare that. So kind of like looking back as like her being 32 herself at the time and kind of like reflecting back on a relationship and kind of looking to being like, what do I have in common with a 19-year-old at 32? Like, how did this happen? I feel like I was duped. I know, like you said, like you're a crisis of my faith, you know, but Lord, you made me feel important. And then like, God rest my soul, I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close, staying
and almost like the trauma of it, because I'm like reading the bridge. Yeah, like I'm reading the bridge and she's talking about like, I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. Like, that's just so powerful, I think.
In religious references, you know, when people say like, you know, like just go pray about it and like go sleep on it and like God will show you a sign in your dreams, you know, if like this is right or wrong for you. And so like in this, she's talking about like, I keep on waiting for a sign and like I'm still fighting with you in my sleep. Like I'm looking to God to be like, tell me what this meant and why this relationship happened. And then she's like, she's coming out the other side of it and she's just like, well, I just regret this relationship. Like that, the end of the day, I just regret ever letting this person in my life. And for anyone who has had that kind of like power dynamic relationship, I feel like you can really relate to this song in particular. Because it is there's a person in this relationship that has all the power and control over you. And then you just feel like you were duped and you were manipulated.
And your innocence was taken. You know, she says in there, like, give me back my girlhood. It was mine first.
Which I think is one of the most heartbreaking lines of like any song that she's ever written. And like how she says it too. Oh, it's like so heartbreaking. Like you can kind of hear her voice like crack in it too. Kind of like that "Give Me Back My Girlhood" like part. So
and
good.
when she performed it on Nashville Night 3, the stadium screamed that part, and it was just sad because it just shows like how many women in that stadium related to that enough to like feel that so deeply. You know what I'm saying?
I think that just goes to why we would always choose the bear.
Always choose the bear. Literally.
My favorite song from this album is Dear Reader. And it is my like go-to imposter syndrome song. So like when I'm feeling that like sense of I don't know what I'm doing at my job, I'm stuck, like I'm so lost right now. That is like the song that I go to like listen to, and it's kind of like, I mean, especially for a therapist, Like, I feel like this song is like very telling, because it's like, never take advice from someone who's falling apart, because like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, you don't know if your therapist is falling apart. Like, you're not going to know that if they're a good therapist.
Yeah.
You know, but also I think it shows like the human nature to be like, throughout the song, I think it's really telling that throughout the song and throughout her entire career, she has been giving advice to people. And so in this song, she's like giving advice, but then she's just like, you should find another guiding light. And then she's like, but I shine so bright. And it's like, yeah, because we're going to listen to you. Like, because even when you're falling apart, I still think that you are like, your advice has a lot of validity to it, Taylor.
Right.
But I think it is her imposter syndrome song, too.
For sure. Well, I was going to say, like, tying into that, my most listened song of 2023 was Karma. And if you know anything about my personal life, you know why. But that song, I got a lot of advice from that song. Like, and that sounds kind of crazy, but like, Karma is literally just like, I minded my own fucking business, and I kind of let Karma take care of whatever it needed to take care of. My favorite, and it was one of my favorite things to say, not to say to my clients, but like to remind my clients, you know, I work in substance abuse, and it was like, before this song even came out, was like, you need to keep your side of the street clean. Don't worry about anybody else's, worry about your side of the street. So then, like, her putting that in the song, I was just like, I need to keep my side of the street clean, focus on myself, and let Karma kind of handle it. And honestly, it did me some good. Like,
it did.
In my personal life, you know?
It definitely did. Because it's kind of just like, I mean, like, I feel like it's her song of being like, I don't have to do anything. This person is going to screw themselves over eventually, because karma always comes back around. And I mean, she talks about karma a lot, which is why like people think that like there is a forgotten album and it is Karma. She says this in like Reputation, like she's like, the world moves on another day, another drama, all for me. Like, all I think about is karma. So I think like she's been like on this thing of looking at karma for a while. I just want to say, like, Karma goes into Vigilante Shit, where she's like, I keep my side of the street clean. But then also in Vigilante Shit, she's like, I had the envelope. Where do you think she got it from?
Yeah.
Like, Taylor,
I'm just gonna drop it off and let whatever
gave a little tip to the FBI. I'm like, girl, what? Yeah. And then like things come out about Scooter Braun and the FBI, like being investigated by the FBI, and I'm like, Taylor.
Literally 2 seconds later. Literally like 2 seconds after this comes out. It's insane. The way that Taylor Swift's timing works on certain things blows my mind. But yeah.
It is. It's crazy. And also, going into like Vigilante Shit and Karma and everything, you know, we know that a lot of that, like Spider Boy, King of Thieves, that is about none other than Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta. And I think it's really funny that pretty much all of Scooter's clients that he had were just like leaving him left and right because they didn't like how he treated the Taylor situation. And they probably saw how shady he was. And again, I don't like how he handled the situation with Ariana Grande. I will preach that until my last dying breath. But like, that girl was going through so much trauma and he made her get up on stage and sing. Absolutely not. Like, you are trash. Everybody's leaving, and now he's not even a manager anymore. Like, it just came out a few weeks ago that he's like retiring from being a manager. And I think that's because nobody wants to fucking work with him because he's a snake in the grass.
Right. Yeah.
Like, how good of a businessman are you if you have to be shady?
Yeah, I think that was literally his PR team kind of being like when somebody's leaving a job and they're like, you can quit before we fire you. I think that was his PR team saying, maybe retire before your image gets any worse than what it already is.
Yeah. Because that's just, like, what he did to Taylor was just such a greedy ass move. And, like, little comments that have been made over the years. And, like, they want to talk about Taylor being a snake. And I'm just like, what are these backdoor shady ass dealings that you're doing? Right. What does that make you? Like, you can't call someone a snake when you're over here selling her masters without even consulting her. You know? Like, it's just gross. It is gross. And I think that's why she wrote Vigilante Shit and why it's the most badass song that she performed on the Eras tour. Because, like, that's so much fun, like, seeing her just, like, draw the cat eye sharp enough to kill a man. And then it just, like, the beat drops and you're like, holy shit. And then she's, like, dancing with the chair and, like, all this stuff. And, like, everyone's reaction of her dancing in that portion.
It's the best.
It's so hilarious. I saw these, like, two people on TikTok the other day. They were reacting to the performance. And they were calling her Naughty Taylor. And it was so cute.
So scandalous.
Which one do you want to talk about next?
You know, I really think, okay, we're going to do a callback to our first ever Instagram post as the verified therapist. I love Mastermind.
I do too.
Like, I loved watching it being performed at the Eras tour. But I just love... because she has spent so many years of us, like, she spent so many years of, like, throwing us these Easter eggs and all of these things and, you know, putting all of this work into it that I think Mastermind was, like she says in there, like, this is the first time that I felt the need to confess. You know, when she talks about it in terms of a relationship, I think that she also means it in terms of, like, her music career and just the way that she, like, writes and performs and plans. I think that Mastermind's just kind of like, I mastermind this whole thing. And then you get to the bridge and she's like talking about, you know, nobody wanted to play with me when I was a kid. So I've been scheming the entire time since then, trying to get everybody to love me. But it's only because I care. It's only because I love you guys. And I love this that I do all of that, you know? Yeah. I love Mastermind.
I do too. The performance is so good, and she's like pointing at everything, and like when she points back at the dancers, and they all just like do the little like roller coaster move, and like I just think it's so cool and so fun, and not only like the lyrics to it, but she just looks like she is having the time of her life performing that song. It's also okay to say that, like, it's not saying you're manipulative, but it's saying like if you're in a relationship, like you had to put some kind of effort into getting this person to like you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's all she's saying at the end of the day is like, I did mastermind this, but I'm not manipulative.
Right. I'm doing it because I care, you know, because I love it.
Bejeweled. Listen, when I first heard Bejeweled, I was like, is she talking about Calvin Harris? And I think she kind of is. I think it's a little bit of Calvin Harris and a little bit of Joe.
I agree with that, yeah.
Of kind of like, don't put me in the basement. I want the penthouse of your heart. And like these boys were trying to
box
keep
you
her
in,
locked down. Yeah. And like we've talked about, like, she isn't a person that's going to be boxed in. Like, she wants to be bejeweled, and she has so much fun performing this song too. I think she just has so much fun performing Midnights in general. Like, she literally looks like every performance that I've seen throughout the entire Midnight set, she is like just having the time of her life. And like in Bejeweled, like her little dance moves, she does the TikTok dance. She like has fun with the dancers, you know, and she makes all these like faces, and she's got more and more dramatic, like when she's like, I miss you. Yeah. And then she's like, no. I'm like, Girl. This is
We
also
see the sassy side of her. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Millie's like favorite song. So
yeah.
I think it's because of the like the music in it.
The sparkling, yeah.
Yeah, like I think Millie just like pops her head up whenever she hears it. It's such a fun song. I love it.
Yes.
And the lyrics are so good too. Like the music video, full of Easter eggs. Crazy amount of Easter eggs throughout that music video. Laura Dern is in that music video. Mm-hmm. And the Haim sisters and Jack.
Everybody.
Just everybody.
Everybody's in there.
But I think it is like, it's like a song that's like anyone who's been in a relationship like that's kind of like tried to dole out your shine and kind of like tear you down and not let you be who you are. I think that's what this song is about, is like her trying to break out of that and be like, oh, you got a boyfriend? Actually, I don't remember if I have a boyfriend because I'm out here, I'm having fun. I don't care.
I don't care if I have a boyfriend or not.
No. Like, he's irrelevant at this point because he's trying to box me in, and I'm not going to be boxed in. And I think Travis lets her be the penthouse.
100%. And lets her shine.
He does. He lets her be bejeweled. What else? What else do we got? I mean, we got Midnight Rain.
I think that speaks a lot to their relationship.
Yeah. Like, he was sunshine. I was Midnight Rain. He wanted it comfortable. I wanted that pain. He wanted a bride. I was making my own name. Girl. Like,
I wanted
essentially,
to be,
like,
I wanted to shine. I wanted to be bejeweled, and you
in the relationship. She wanted, like, they wanted everything differently, you know. And I think that goes to like how describing her relationship with Joe too. Like, they want different things completely, and that's okay. Like we said last week, like, that's okay if you want two different things in a relationship, but maybe it's also okay to break up. Right.
And saying, like, he never changed, but I changed completely, you know?
I think it kind of, like, speaks to, like, the Labyrinth, too, which the Labyrinth is, like, an anxiety-ridden song as well. It is, yeah. And, like, the music behind that's a lot of synth. There's so much synth throughout this entire...
So much synth, yeah.
Yeah. And, like...
The Labyrinth is, like, that's all the music is.
Sweet Nothing. She wrote with Joe.
It's a very sweet song. Yeah.
R.I.P. to their relationship.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but I think it also, you know, again speaks to their relationship. Like all you ever wanted for me was Sweet Nothing. And, you know, they're outside pushing and shoving. You're in the kitchen humming. I think that's, like, so cute and so telling of her life. Like, people are outside trying to get a glimpse of her, trying to see when she's coming out of the apartment, and then, like, Joe is just inside, just, like, having a good time, you know? Yeah. And it's, like, I feel like that was okay for her for a brief period of time until it wasn't. Right. Can I ask you a question? We'll do some honorable mentions. You know, this album as a whole is, like she said, it's like, I feel like it's a midnight confessional where she just, like, reflected back on a lot of different relationships. And I just got a notification, Love Island starts now. Oh. Still got to make dinner. I'm just going to text Nikki here in a minute and be like, don't spoil anything.
Don't say anything to me about it.
I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb so no one can text me during this. But anyways, like, just to sum up Midnights, it is just a midnight confessional of past relationships. I think she reflected back and just kind of, like, used her pen to get out a lot of lingering feelings about past relationships and current relationships. I mean, also we've got You're Losing Me, which she released as a part of Midnights, which describes her breakup with Joe. And that song in general is like, have we talked about it before? I feel like
we probably have.
I think we have.
If we haven't, everybody needs to go listen to it because it is insanely powerful.
It is. It's like, it's a song that describes a relationship that's like slowly dying. And like she's slowly dying in this relationship. And the only time that he's like noticing that she's dying is like when she's like actively, like her heart is stopping. And she's like, that's not good enough for me. And like, that's where we get like, I wouldn't marry me either, a pathological people pleaser. And the whole thing is like her heartbeat, and then by the end her heartbeat is like not there anymore.
Not there. Yeah.
And I think that's why in So Long London, like we hear kind of like the heartbeat sounds again of like her heart starting up again. Yeah. And like she's got, I'm getting color back into my face, because she talks about her face turning gray, and you wouldn't admit that we were sick, and like you wouldn't admit that this relationship was falling apart, because it sounds like a lot of denial on his part. And I think we've seen that in like what little has come out from his camp about their breakup, of kind of being like, oh, well, I was blindsided that we broke up, and like all these different things of kind of just like him being in denial about it. Midnights was Joe's breakup album.
It was, yeah. And I think that for the longest time, like, because I think at first glance it doesn't seem very scathing. And I don't know that it is scathing. I think it's just honest of how she felt. You know what I'm saying?
To wrap up, everyone go listen to Midnight. Listen to the 3 a.m. edition. You'll get all the songs that we talked about, and plus more that we didn't get to hit on.
Yeah.
And then go and listen to the Till Dawn edition, and that's where you'll get You're Losing Me and Karma with Ice Spice, and then Snow on the Beach with more Lana Del Rey as well.
Yeah. So, I don't like Ice Spice. I'm just going to make it known. I never listened to that version ever.
Industry plant. People literally say that she's an industry plant, and I'm like, I don't even know what you mean by that.
I think Ice Spice is AI, but we'll go into that like at a different time.
Oh my god. Ice Spice is AI. Like, what was she on stage in New York 3 nights in a row? Just a robot?
What was she? She was, she was just a robot. Have you, like, seen her? Like, she went to the Chiefs games with Taylor, and she was, like, everybody's, like, cheering and stuff, and she's just, like, sitting there. Like, she just has, like, she's blank. Ice Spice is blank. And that, to me, is just blank. And so, like, to me, you're a computer. You're not a person. That sounds really mean. She is a person, like Ice Spice. If you listen to this, no shade to you. I just don't understand you.
Other than, Ice Spice being AI, let's close out with some intentions for the week.
My intention, I'm going to say it again, is to get my thyroid appointment scheduled. Somebody hold me to it. I know Alexa will. I know you probably will.
I will do that.
We got to hold me to it. So that's my intention.
We'll hold you to the thyroid appointment. Make sure you do it.
Yeah, I know you will.
My intention is to like wear my boot the way I'm supposed to.
Good intention. I'll hold you to that too.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get off here and go watch Love Island.
So we're gonna go watch Love Island, and we're gonna not freak out.
Yeah, everybody have a good week, and remember, if there's an opportunity, vote Raw Bomb. Okay?